All good. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Motive Racing channel for some more action here on Assetto Corsa Competizione here on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 cross-play version of ACC, which is obviously intended for the PS4, but PS5 users can indeed join and play amongst the PS4 users. And here we are. We've got 14 drivers out on the track tonight for the GT3 Sprint Championship, round 2 of this season that we're currently in. Currently coming towards the end of the free practice session, which obviously precedes the qualifying. And right now we've got Reco Vantage setting the pace in the low 1 minute 44s. But the big surprise here, Ryan Ruby, who's alongside me in the box, by the way, big welcome along to my usual friend in the box now, is that Jazzman is P2.
Yeah, he's not as fast as he usually is. Maybe Reco's just been a lot of practice.
There we go. Right, so normal service resumed. Jazzman has gone P1. No, it's not. To be fair, it is very close. Jazzman just pips him there by 2/10. You got Casey.
Reco could might be able to beat him.
Yeah, Reco is on a lap, but SVV Casey, last week's winner in the first race, is currently in third place in this practice, as we can see. Reco up towards. Oh, we get so close. Look at that. That is tantalisingly close. 18 thousandths of a second separating the two of them at the top of the leaderboard. It's Jazzman just from Reco Vantage, with Casey will be in third place for this practice. But obviously this is not the actual qualifying itself. This does not mean a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. Turbo Dutch doing the 4th fastest time, but the top 3, Jazzman, Reco and Casey, seem to be in a bit of a battle of their own. Turbo Dutch best of the rest in P4. GGJ, one of our regulars in the F1 League here at Motive, actually messaged me earlier in the week saying he wanted to get into ACC. He's been wanting to for some time now, and he seems pretty quick. He's not too far for the pace, and he's, as I said before, he's quite a connoisseur of the Formula 1 game. But yeah, it's the first time I've seen him on a game like this, so fair play to him for making that transition, and rather seamlessly at that. But here we are then, coming out for the 10-minute qualifying session, the first qualifying session of the evening tonight. It's going to be 2 30-minute races for the Sprint Championship on a Sunday here at Motive. So it's obviously no pit stop requirements for the actual races themselves. There's just a quick 10-minute qualifying to proceed each of the races. And it's going to be hectic. It's going to be quite a frantic type of race. These races always are sprint races. They're always a little bit more cagey, but exciting nonetheless. And I'm looking forward to seeing some similar action to what we saw last week. Let's hope that none of the drivers who are in the top 3 on the last lap decide to stop their car and purposely finish off the podium in order to be able to qualify for the second race.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we had I had a personal message from Turbo Dutch about that, and he said that he didn't realise that was the case. Anyway, doing it from now on. So hopefully we'll see. No one doing that.
Yeah, obviously I don't want to be giving it. I don't want to be making digs at the guy. Obviously, I know that these things can be a bit of a grey area, but yeah, for sure we don't want to be seeing anything like that nonetheless. But it was a great performance from Turbo Dutch. You know, last week he put in a good showing in that first race. Was on course for a P2. Managed to keep with the leader Casey for quite a while during that race. So. It'd be interesting to see what he can get up to here tonight. In the end, obviously, he ended up spilling more points than he gained because the second race didn't go to plan for him at all. So if he had just taken that P2, he would have ended up benefiting. But nonetheless, we move on, and what's done is done. But we've got Torre in the pits and Casey in the pits, but everybody else is out on track here. 12 drivers currently trying to put laps in here, as we see Van der Speck going a little bit wide out of the last corner. Now these drivers are just starting their first flying laps of the night, as Franz Joseph has returned to the pits. So he seems to have made a mistake on his first flying run. We're going to just have a look around and see who's furthest around on their lap. I know Jazzman's usually Johnny on the spot. He's usually pretty finger on the pulse.
Jazzman, who is the first car on track.
And that is no surprise there. Reco Vantage is just coming into turn 1 at the moment. He looks like he just took a few extra seconds to configure his setup and make sure he's got everything as he needs it to be. Could be dropping the fuel maybe to maximise his pace around this Circuit de Catalunya Barcelona circuit here, host of the Spanish Grand Prix and a great racing circuit for the GT3s. We've raced here many times throughout the seasons here at Motive. It was the finale for the last GT3 Sunday League here on the PS4 motive. I believe... No, that's a lie. That's a lie. That is a lie. The finale was at the Nürburgring. I think it was the penultimate round, maybe, of the season for the PS4 Sunday GT3 League. I don't know. Yeah, actually, I don't know where I got that idea from.
I remember it was the last race of the season that we done in the Porsche Cups.
Yes.
One that I competed in.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember the Porsche Super Cup season. The ill-fated Porsche Super Cup season, the one where we really struggled to get double figures each week. It was a bit tricky. That I think that was the sort of the time when the ACC on the PlayStation was starting to like sort of maybe wane a bit, and maybe a lot of people were moving to PC. But Jazzman currently top of the leaderboard on 1 minute 44.3. Talking to drivers who haven't moved on to PC, maybe when they've got the talent to. Jazzman, probably the quickest driver on PlayStation that I've ever seen. Similar drivers with similar pace. Chris CDL, pretty quick. Reco Vantage, another one who is always up there at the sharp end. But Jazzman currently setting the pace in the early stages of this qualifying session at 144.3. Reco Vantage has gone P2 as Turbo Dutch does the time good enough for P3 for the time being. Van der Speck and John Jig have done lap times, but I don't think they're going to be in the reckoning with those that they've done so far. Nilsson moves up into P4 in the Bentley there with a 146.4, and everybody else just coming around with their lap times. Slow Wolf is just coming out of the chicane as we're going to watch him coming through the final corner. What can Slow Wolf do here? Is Torday in the pits? He's not going to improve while sat in there as we see Slow Wolf coming over the line, and he goes into P4. But it's actually really close between 4th and 7th. You see only 2 tenths separating Slow Wolf, Nilsson, Van der Speck and John Jig. So it's quite tight in that sort of that pack of in that sort of cluster, if you like. As Corday, as you could probably guess, friend of Torday's, goes P8, making his debut tonight. Corday, first time I've ever seen him on the Motive Racing channel. Welcome along, mate. Good to see you out on track. Driving in the Honda, driving in the NSX. Wow, bit of a ballsy one, that is for sure. But very quick through the corners. I don't know if you've driven the NSX ride. From what I've seen of it, absolutely planted through the corners, but not really what you want to be in going down those long straights.
Not really. I mean, it's a good car. General wise, I mean, we've seen who was it? WRC Mad Max.
Yep.
He raced that when it was the multi-class, and he showed a lot of pace in that.
Yeah, definitely. Mad Max is quite a quick driver across the board, but if there was going to be one series where he maybe didn't deliver his potential, it's probably here, if I'm perfectly honest. So maybe that wasn't the right call for him to go in that car, but nonetheless, let's see what Corday can do in it. But yeah, I don't know. To me, it seems like it's not really the car you want to be going in if you want to be winning races. But Reko's done a time good enough for P2 at the moment. He's got a little bit close to Jazzman. The gap between the top two in this session at the moment is half a second. At this point, we still yet to see the true pace, I think, of SVV Casey, who did do a time good enough for P3 in the first session, but he was a lot closer to Jazzman in that practice session that we had a few minutes ago. As we can see, more times coming in here. I'm Slow has gone P4 so far, as he's now pulled off to the side and into the pits. Who else is out there at this point? GGJ's gone P11, but we're expecting to see an improvement from him. He was right up there in the practice a few minutes ago, as we see him just tagging he's tagging an advertising hoarding air and sending it flying. I'm Slow in the pits, so I wonder if he's going to get out in time to do another lap. But coming into the closing stages of this qualifying session, right here, right now, for round 2, race 3 of the season here for the GT3 Sprint Championship here at Motive on the PlayStation 4, as John Jig goes P4, puts himself on the second row alongside SVV Casey provisionally. He's still got time for 2 more laps as well here, so there's still opportunities for John Jig to move himself up that order here. But yeah, solid showing from him so far.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've only got 2 minutes left, and we've got some drivers that can make a massive improvement, which one of them I can see is Lightblade. I've raced with for a while. A driver that is part of the team that I'm in, run DJC. and I've seen him do very quick laps. So I'm waiting to see him jump up the order.
Yeah, it should be good. But yeah, he's currently just coming through in towards the final sector of this lap that he's currently on. Never seen Lightblade driving the number 60. I'll tell you what, that is a fetching livery as well. Look at that. He's really put in the work with that. That's not one of the defaults, is it? Or is it?
It is one of the defaults.
It's one of the defaults. But here he comes to the final corner. Lightblade is going to finish a lap. He's currently 2 seconds off of the pace, not where he's used to being, that's for sure. Can he move himself a little bit up the order here? He crosses over the line. No, he doesn't. Stays in P10. So he's just struggling to get it really down at the moment, is Lightblade. Can he deliver on this final run of the session here for him? Reco Vantage is chipping away at that gap to Jazzman in this qualifying session. Jazzman did that lap very early, the 1 minute 44.3. Reco was initially 6/10 behind, then he gained a tenth and brought it down to half a second. He's now got the gap on those lap times down to 0.3 of a second. Can he find those 3-4 tenths and maybe deny Jazzman a pole position? What a surprise, what a turn up for the books that would be if Jazzman were to not get pole in a race here at Motive on the PlayStation platform. But here we come out of the last corner for Reco Vantage up towards the line. What is it going to be for him? He does it by 0.02 of a second. Reco Vantage puts it on provisional pole. Yeah, Jazzman's not going to do anything. He can't do anything. He's in the pits. So that is it. Reco Vantage just done it.
We can't call it off. We can see Lightblade get us.
True, yeah, no, it's definitely not over yet. Lightblade is coming in towards turn 9 as we speak, as Van der Speck's coming out up towards the line. GGJ's gone P8. What about Van der Speck? He doesn't improve. He stays in P9 for the time being. But all eyes on Lightblade. Or Casey. What can Casey do? Because Casey was very quick in the practice a little while ago. John Jig's also out there. He's coming through the middle sector at the moment. Where is Lightblade though? Lightblade's returned to the pit, so he's done. He's not going to improve here in this session then. John Jig's just coming out of turn 8. You've got Casey, who's just coming towards he's just finished the first sector. He's coming through the turn 6 and 7 little kink. Now let's jump John Jig. Yeah, John Jig's done. John Jig's done for the session. Turbo Dutch currently in P7. Was a contender in the first race of last week at Brands Hatch. You've got GGJ coming through the 6 and 7 part of the track. You've got Van der Speck, who's just coming just behind him on the track. Torde is out there coming into turn 9 right now. Where is Casey now? Casey's bailed. He's not going to improve either. So Reco Vantage looking very good for pole here. Turbo Dutch is coming in towards the final sector. GGJ looks like he's done. He's stopped the car, so he's now finished his lap. Torde is coming through the final sector of the lap. Next over the ahead of Turbo Dutch. Oh, Turbo Dutch, he loses it coming into the chicane. That's going to be his lap done then. What about Torde? Torde coming into the final right-hander of the lap to P13 at the moment. Can he get himself in the top 10 maybe? Up towards the line comes Torde. He improves his lap, but not by enough. Gets himself within 0.3 of a second of his namesake, Corday there in P12. GGJ coming into the pit, so he's not going to improve either. Van der Speck coming over the line, P9. So that's that then for the qualifying session. The big news tonight, Reco Vantage, I think is the first driver ever to deny Jazzman a pole position in a qualifying session that Jazzman has taken part in. Barring the one time, obviously that, when I want to say that, I mean on the PlayStation 4, by the way, because Tyner Cinderhouse did take a couple of poles in the PS5 league that we ran a few months ago. But yeah, I think on the PS4, I don't think Jazzman has ever failed to take a pole position until now. Reco Vantage denies him by 0.02 of a second. So Reco Vantage really on one tonight and showing that he's got the talent. And on his day, or on his track, he's got the pace to take the fight to Jazzman. So well done to Reco Vantage. He'll start on pole with Jazzman alongside him on the front row, followed by SBV Casey in third. John Jig will line up alongside him on the second row with Slow Wolf in fifth. I am so sick. Turbo Dutch in seventh place ahead of GGJ in eighth, followed by Van der Speck ninth. Nielsen 10th ahead of Lightblade in 11th, followed by Corday 12th. Torde 13th, and Franz Joseph didn't do a lap there. Will start in P14 at the back.
Yes, the top two are just combined together. We've got a nice little Three cars from third to 11th, really.
Yeah, it's I think Casey maybe didn't quite show his potential in that qualifying session, because we saw in the practice he was only a couple of tenths off of Jazzman and Recco. So I think maybe he struggled to, for whatever reason, just couldn't deliver his utmost potential there in that qualifying. For whatever reason, maybe he got held up behind somebody or had an incident. Maybe he had to undergo repairs or something. We don't quite know, but I think we're definitely going to see Casey at least taking the fight to Recco and Jazzman over the course of both races here tonight. Obviously, it's 2 races here for the GT3 Sprint Championship, and the podium finishers from the first race cannot qualify for the second one, so that just makes it a little bit more interesting for those who weren't off the podium, or for those sort of in the prominent to mid-pack. That gives them a bit of a hope going into the second race that they might be able to snatch a win from the guys who finished on the podium in the first race, who are having to do it from the back. But nonetheless, we've got 2 minutes to go until the start of the first race of the evening. 2 30-minute races, as we said. No mandatory pit stop. It's a straight-out sprint to the line. It's going to be hectic. It's going to be chaotic. And there's going to be certainly no room for error out there tonight. As we've got 7 of you currently watching the stream at the moment. Guys, please smash that like button if you're enjoying tonight's stream. If you want to get involved in the on-track action. If you're watching this for the first time, be sure to go to www.motiveracing.com. We'll have a league starting up next season as well, but we're currently mid-season at the moment, so if anybody wants to jump in as a reserve or even as a permanent driver for the current seasons that we got going, because as you can see, there are a few spaces tonight. A couple of drivers couldn't make it because of the football, I mean, as you can see, there are a couple of spaces, so if you fancy coming along, if you're on the PlayStation platform, then by all means, come to www.motiveracing.com, join the Discord server, and sign up via our partners, simleaguepro.com, who facilitate all of our leagues, all of our standings, all of the information in regards to the championship is hosted on simleaguepro.com, and they do a fantastic job, not just for Motive, but for many, many leagues across PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. So yeah, big ups to those guys for the job that they are doing, and for how easy they make it for us to be able to run our leagues and do our admins and our standings. Ryan, you know all too well the standings. It's an absolute. It's. I was going to say a piece of, you know what to do with.
Yeah, it's because someone that wants the point standings in the right order.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. But no, it makes it much easier. And Simleague Pro, we thank you for your service that you provide. And it's very much appreciated. But here we are, 25 seconds to go until the start of the formation lap. It'll be just a slow formation lap, the full formation lap for these drivers. So they're going to have to just try and keep temperatures in the tyres, try and do a little bit of stop and starting. Freeman told me that you don't actually really, there's not much to be gained from weaving on formation laps here on ATC. It's really all about just stop starting, getting the brakes on and off, and getting some heat into the brakes and the tyres. So that's really the main kind of source of energy in the tyres. But yeah, these guys will be doing plenty of that over the next sort of 3 or 4 minutes, as we're just moving off the line right now. So Recco Vantage will be leading them around ahead of Jazzman. Casey in third place ahead of John Jig, followed by Slow Wolf. I am so in P6. Turbo Dutch, GGJ. GGJ's not moved. Oh no, as his pedals packed up. What is going on here? GGJ has not moved off of the... Oh, there we go. He's off at last. So he is moving. Now, is he going to resume his position, or is he just going to have to start from the back? That's the question.
He will resume his position if he can get to the position within the 30 seconds.
Right, okay, so he's off for moving. So that's good to see, obviously. But yeah, a bit of a heart in mouth time there moment for GGJ, but it looks like he's back in position, which is obviously great news there for him. Yeah, I'm looking forward to a great race here tonight for this first race of the evening, and very excited to see Recco putting it ahead of Jazzman in the qualifying session. A rare sight, seeing Jazzman failing to take pole position for any race at any time, anywhere, but that has happened tonight. As we've got Pete in the comments saying, "Hi everyone, top 3 for John Jig tonight, been driving really well lately." Very possibly, Pete. I mean, he's up in P4 in the qualifying, and John Jig is a consistent racer, usually fares better in the races as well, so yeah, we're definitely going to be watching him with keen interest. Peter Nilsson says, "Good race, everybody." That's this guy here, QTKP RCNF LCPA. That is actually Nilsson. Everybody calls him Nilsson. Everybody knows him as Nilsson. He's known as Wi-Fi code, or I believe PlayStation voucher.
Yeah, that's what I was going to call it, PlayStation voucher code.
Yeah, it's either a Wi-Fi code or PlayStation voucher. But yeah, well, you could insert many different terms for a name of that sort of variety. But yeah, we'll call him Nilsson. It's like QTKP Nilsson. Nilsson is his name. So anybody watching for the first time, it is Nilsson. But yeah, he's been with us for quite a while. He's commenting there. Peter Nilsson, big supporter always on our streams, and has raced. Is so loyal to Motive as well. You know, in times when we've been struggling, you know, when we've had a mass exodus, if that's even the word, of drivers, he's always stuck with us, and he's been loyal. He's been there for us every step of the way, and we're massively thankful to him. As we've got 9 of you currently watching the stream, guys, smash the like button, please. It helps us out more than you know. It really does. Every single like means the world to us, and it obviously helps us to look a bit more reputable on the streams. It helps us to expand to a wider audience. People see likes, people see reputability, they think, yes, I would like to see some of this, and then yeah, we got more drivers, we've got more races, we've got more tiers, and we've got more opportunities. So yeah, by all means, smash the like button. But here we are, coming through the final corner, about to go racing here for the first race of the evening. You can tell I'm probably a bit tired tonight. I'm rambling already, but I've had a very strong coffee, which is kind of actually keeping me going. So yeah, so if I do ramble and I do talk, Ryan, just cut in and shut me up if I talk too much. So here we are then.
We're both in the same boat here, Andy.
We are both in the same boat. We both had very little sleep. But here we are. We're racing now at Barcelona, and Reco gets an absolutely horrible start. Jazzman has already outpaced him down towards turn 1. You see the Bentley cutting across ahead of the Porsche, as now Reco might have Casey looking to his inside. Now Casey pulls back to the outside coming into turn 1, but it's Jazzman from Reco, from Casey the top 3, as John Jig has lost out to Slow Wolf there. Slow Wolf up into 4th place. I'm Slow just getting caught up behind John Jig there, and that has allowed the number 74 as Vanderspec to get himself up into P7, I believe. So we've got good luck everyone from Pete Bibb. Reco advantage down to P2 with Jazzman leading this race here on lap 1. But obviously we've seen a couple of position changes there. John Jig down to P5 in this race from P4 on the grids. Vanderspec up into P7, and Lightblade has gained 2 places up into 9th. So it's been a strong start here from Lightblade on this first lap, as Franz Joseph is up into P13 ahead of Corday as well.
Yeah, I mean, as you were saying at the start, Andy, the Bentley or Jazzman got a better start than Reco, which I noticed quite a bit when I was doing the GT3s last season. The Bentley is one of the best cars on the starts. If you have it in the right gear, you can jump everyone. Like if you.
I am Slow making a move to the inside of Vanderspec into turn 9. He's made that one stick as well. Nicely done there from I am Slow up into P7. As Turbo Dutch was really pressuring. Oh no, Nilsson with a mare on his first lap, as Turbo Dutch was eyeing up a move on John Jig. John Jig had to really defend quite exuberantly to the inside into turn 9, but nothing doing. Oh no, we've got a collision. Yeah, we have got was that GGJ giving a tap in the rear to one of the who was that? I'm trying to work out who it was. I think it was I am Slow. Yeah, GGJ gave I am Slow a big tap in the rear coming into the chicane, and he's going to lose out potentially here. Torday looking to the inside.
Really far off the pack.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened there to him, but so Nilsson and Franz Joseph both having spins on this first lap. Torday looking to the inside here, but nothing doing there on Corday, that is, who's just behind I am Slow, and GGJ is just in front of these. It wasn't GGJ who span him round, by the way. It was Vanderspec who spun I am Slow round. It was Vanderspec who hit I am Slow in the rear coming into the chicane, and that was the reason why we had the incident. It wasn't GGJ. GGJ's in the McLaren. It's Vanderspec who's in the Porsche. So it was Vanderspec, I think, who hit him round.
Yeah. I've just checked the replay of Franz Jose's spin. He just come into the dog leg chicane sort of thing, the final sector, and he just lost the back end.
In the meantime, we can see John Jig has got ahead of Slow Wolf up into 4th place. In fact, Slow Wolf, I think, has lost out to Turbo Dutch as well. He has, so he's down to P6. Slow Wolf has lost 2 positions. And I am slow looking to the inside here on Van der Speck into turn 9. Once again, an exact repeat of what we saw in the previous lap. Now, hopefully, Van der Speck doesn't hit him in the back coming into the chicane this time around. Yeah, Lightblade right on the back of Van der Speck. Yeah, it's I am slow, Van der Speck, and then Lightblade. I'm using the good camera angle tonight, which means that it's easier for me to see who's who. I'm using a nice camera angle that's zoomed out, and you can see the numbers actually better than you can on the other one. So it gives you a much better vantage point.
One that is.
So you want to go on to drive and press circle once. It's one off of the default. You see how much better it is. It is a million times better. John Jig's still running in P4 at the moment. It's got Turbo Dutch still hassling him. Jazzman has just broken away at the start though. He's got nearly a 2-second lead. But we know how quick Jazzman is in the first part of the races. Can he keep this up for the full half an hour, or is Recco just going to be consistent and try and pick him off over the course of this race? At the moment, Jazzman though looking like he's in imperious form. Casey just tagging to the back of them, but seems to be dropping off a bit. The top 3 have absolutely ran off into the distance. They're now, well, Jazzman is nearly 10 seconds up the road from John Jig, but the gap between the top 3 about 3.5 seconds at this point. So they're in a world of their own.
John Jig.
Oh no, Torde. Oh yeah, he's stationary, so he's taken quite a while to get that moving. In fact, he must have been sat there for quite a long time, waiting to get the car going. John Jig has still got Turbo Dutch on the back of him. As you can see, Slow Wolf there ahead of GGJ. I am slow, Van der Speck and Lightblade. Pack of cars here, battling over 5th place. Corday there in 11th, followed by Nilsson. You've got Torde, who is a long way behind. In fact, Torde's behind Franz Joseph now, actually, as well. So Franz Joseph off into P13, and it has not been the race for Torde at all here. He's having a night there so far. But nonetheless, we go back to the battle for P4 as John Jig and Turbo Dutch have just gapped Slow Wolf a little bit now. Slow Wolf's falling off at the back of him. He's now 2 seconds adrift, but Turbo Dutch looking like he wants to try and get something done here with John Jig coming down towards turn 1. It's a little bit too far away at the moment though. Looking back down the order here as we've got Lightblade looking down the inside of Van der Speck. Oh, I think he's done it. Is that Lightblade ahead of him now? No.
Lightblade's still behind.
Yeah, Van der Speck was the one who held on the inside. Lightblade trying to go for the cut back here, coming round turn 4. Is Van der Speck going to go to defend? Lightblade's not quite got the run on him there, and Svander holding on there for the time being then. As Nilsson's on the back of Corday, these two having a good little fight for P11 at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just seeing
What is Sharon's other name?
I don't know, Nana.
Huh?
I don't know. But yeah, currently Lightblade is still giving Svander something to think about at the moment. But these two just dropped off at the mid-pack battle a little bit now. You can see.
He did.
Oh yeah, he is. So I wonder if he's got damage on the car potentially. Maybe he's had to come in. And...
just put in a gap on Reco Vantage there now. So Reco Vantage is now 3 seconds off, and SVK.
Yeah, there's Jazzman. And there's
KC is dropping behind in P3.
Yeah, they're all pulling away from each other. Jazzman's got the edge over Echo, but Casey doesn't seem to have the pace to keep up with Reco at this point. Now, I wonder what the situation is with the tyres. I wonder whether Jazzman has gone for a more aggressive tyre pressures, possibly. Maybe Reco's gone a little bit more conservative, possibly playing the long game, trying to keep them going all the way until the end of this half an hour stint. Maybe Jazzman's being a bit more aggressive and trying to take more out of his tyres.
Around the outside of John Jig into turn 1.
Oh, yeah, great move there. We caught the tail end of that, and John Jig looked like he was powerless to do anything there.
He's back out with the pits in the middle of the battles.
Yeah, so Turbo Dutch there up into P4. He's about 6 seconds off for the podium spots. Has he got the pace now to chase after Casey? Has John Jig got what it takes to try and come back at Turbo Dutch here? You got Slow Wolf there in P6, about a couple of seconds off for the back of the battle between Turbo Dutch and John Jig. There's GGJ in 7th. Van der Speck is still keeping Lightblade just about at bay. These guys just a couple of seconds ahead of I Am Stowe running in P10. Nielsen there running in 11th place. Scott Corday a couple of seconds behind him in 12th. There's Franz Joseph and Torde a long way behind there. And Jazzman seems to be really quick through that first sector. He's gained 0.7 of a second on this lap so far, just through that part of the lap.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm just watching Turbo Dutch John Jig, and I'm really surprised with John Jig. He's usually further up. I've raced with him for the last 3 seasons or so, and I know that he's a quick driver, and I think that him taking a break from ACC like I've done,
Who tightened that up?
he's just dropped off of the pace, which when we've done the 90-minute endurance on Wednesday, when we started I was so slow, but towards the end I was just getting my pace back, so it's...
Yeah, sometimes it's just about getting yourself back in the swing of it, isn't it? I mean, John Jig is not racing permanently with us on a Wednesday anymore. He's pulled out of that one.
Light Blade coming into turn 1 right on the back of Svander here.
Yeah, he is. He's looking around him, but Svander's just got enough. Thing is, these guys both running in the Porsche, so Svander seems to pretty much have the answer to him down the straight. So Light Blade trying to use the slipstream, it's just not working to his advantage at this point. He's trying everything he can, but it seems like these two quite evenly matched at the moment. They are losing time to GGJ whilst they're battling as well, so this is hurting Light Blade's race. Potentially
he's slightly wide there, it's going to give Light Blade a bit of a better exit.
A little bit too far back. He's back to the... Yeah, maybe Svander just caught out Light Blade there with his early braking. Light Blade now deep into the corner because his car was wobbling coming into the corner due to that contact. He might have a bit of front end damage there, Light Blade, as well, because that was quite a hefty hit, I have to say. Now this is bringing I Am Stowe into this battle, and he'll be defending 8th place. Has he? Oh no! Out of turn 8. Yep, he has. He's off. He's off the track. He's on the runoff. And there you go. You see the Svander, Light Blade, and I Am Stowe coming through. Nielsen's going to also come through as well. So John Jig's going to drop down to 11th place here in this race.
Svander's now getting pressure from Light Blade. Light Blade's looking to go down the inside of him.
This is great racing here between these two. Now running in 7th and 8th places, but the longer that Light Blade stays behind Svander here, the more it's hurting his chances of maybe getting into the top 5. He's got a realistic shout here of getting into the top 5. You've got Slow Wolf is about 9 or 10 seconds up the road. So if Light Blade can dispatch Svander's spec soon, he might have a chance of chasing after them. Here we go.
This is right up his trough here, and he's going to look down the outside.
Yeah, this is the closest he's been in this race so far. But look at that. Svander's spec has got a faster car in a straight line. You can see, because as soon as Light Blade pulled out of that slipstream, Svander's spec started to come back at him. But Light Blade gets the move done nonetheless. Up into P7. Now, can he try and pull away? Is Svander going to come back at him? Yeah, Franz Joseph is in the pit. So I wonder what that's all about. Possibly damage there on the car. But Light Blade will be hoping now that he can just stretch away from Svander's spec and try and put that phase of the race behind him now. And try and focus on what's ahead of him, because he's got 4.5 seconds up the road to GGJ. He's got 7.5 to Slow Wolf. So, you know, he's certainly not out of the reckoning for a potential podium in this race, I feel.
No, definitely not. I mean,
not podium, sorry, top 5. Sorry.
I mean, Light Blade's a very, very quick driver. I've raced for a while. In series, and he's always been a quicker driver than me, and it's just he's a bit far off of the pace that he usually is.
And I wonder,
seen him race for a while.
I wonder if that could be similar reasons to yourself, mate. Is that the fact that he's been racing on project cars too lately? He races on a Monday and a Thursday in our Cloud Cup and our Touring Car Championship, and maybe just that muscle memory, getting used to cars that drive a certain way. Maybe that's just playing with him a little bit. Oh, as we can see a spinner. Svander Specs lost it coming out of the chicane. I Am Stowe moves through, and so will Nielsen. And there's John Jig as well. So Svander Specs going to lose a lot of places here. Corday comes through. And Torde, yes. So Svander Spec has gone from...
Torde's a lap down.
Oh, he is? Yes, he is. So he's gone from 9th down to 12th place here as Svander Spec with a mistake. And unfortunately, all of his hard work in this race kind of undone at this point. Pete Bibb in the comments saying nice driving from Light Blade in regards to his little battle with Spander's spec, it was indeed, and Spander pushing a little bit too hard maybe to try and keep up with Lightblade in that instance.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Lightblade's now sort of got a gap to the car behind. He can just focus on himself, trying to get himself a bit further forward.
Yeah, absolutely. But currently, in the meantime, we've got Jazzman leading this race. He'll obviously, well, he has been pretty fired up in this race so far, presumably down to the fact that he wasn't on pole for once. So that's probably just ignited a bit of a fire in his belly, and he's been the man to beat so far in this race. He's got a 6-second gap to Recco vantage. Recco's 6 seconds clear of Casey, so these three definitely the fastest drivers out there, but I would say that Jazzman's certainly got a bit of an edge over them. Turbo Dutch actually is slightly closing on Casey at this point. He's got that gap down to 5 seconds. It was about 6 or 7 before, so Turbo Dutch has got that momentum and seems to be making gains on Casey. But obviously we've got 15 laps left in this race, so we're probably going to have about 9 or 10 more laps here for this one. So if Turbo Dutch can gain about half a second a lap on Casey, he might be on him. By the time we get to the final lap, it could be a close one. Actually, Casey gained a couple of tenths on that particular lap though, so that trend seems to now be reversing a little bit. But yeah, at this point, Jazzman looking to be in control of this race. Recco stopped that gap going up by as much over the last lap or so. 5.7 coming over the line to start lap 9. It's now 6.3, so Jazzman once again absolutely rapid through that first sector, putting out that gap where those Bentley's strengths lie. And Recco doesn't seem to be able to have any answer for him, as Lightblade has got IMSO still pretty close to the back of him. IMSO was able to close in on Lightblade whilst Lightblade was stuck behind Svander's spec, and has managed to stick to him since they both got ahead of Svander. And in fact, IMSO seems to have the momentum here on Lightblade. Lightblade's dropping off of GGJ, so looks like Lightblade P7 for him could be the summit of his ambitions here. IMSO looking pretty racy on the back of him. Looks like he's going to be trying to take that away from him.
Yeah, IMSO is a very quick driver, and we've seen it in the Wednesday race. He's worked well with his strategy, which we saw I think it was the first round. The second round, he raced in. He stayed out and then pitted, and he ended up getting a podium in the first race.
Yeah, he did a very good job indeed. John Jiggles on the back of. Yeah, I was going to say this is looking pretty close here between these two as well. Recco gained a bit on Jazzman coming through the middle sector. The gap now up to 6.0, so Recco was a little bit quicker through that part of the track. In fact, that was actually on the last sector there. So the gap all told last lap only went up by about 3 tenths. So Recco's starting to maybe get into his stride a bit. Has Jazzman taken a bit too much out of his tyres? As I said earlier on, possibly he's got a bit more aggressive with the tyre pressures. Maybe that's caused them to just start to peter out a bit, and that could maybe hand an initiative back to Recco again. All I'm doing is trying to hype this up and maybe try and add a bit of an extra narrative to it. I don't really know, but it could be potentially a twist in this tale for this first race. Who knows? So far, Jazzman has been clearly the quickest driver, but that could change. There could be a bit more to this than what meets the eye at the moment. But nonetheless, I am so really close on the back of Lightblade. John Jig now within 0.3 of a second, and Nilsson, and is piling that pressure on for this P9. John Jig obviously will have the bit between his teeth.
John Jig just let off there because he just started to lose his back end.
Yeah, he did. He had a bit of a squirty moment there. I'm so still really close on the back of Lightblade at the moment, 6/10 separating those two, as Nilsson and John Jig coming through turns 6 and 7. Oh, Nilsson was really wide there. He might have got a track limits for that, and he's let him past. Nilsson lets John Jig through. Wants none of that. Doesn't want to risk incident. He just thinks, you know what, best to bail out of that one. Live to fight another day. Fair play, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, John Jig's as fast a driver. Nilsson's had his improvements over the season, which I've seen. Personally, I mean, when I first started, he was sort of relative to about 5 seconds off the pace sort of thing. He's now maybe 1 second off of what Jazzman's setting, 1.5 seconds off what Jazzman's setting, which is a massive improvement. So we could start seeing some drivers making a improvement, being Nilsson, John, Torday, the drivers that have been improving over the seasons they've been here.
Yeah, for sure. We've got JMM Jojo 72 saying BJR in the comments. Not quite sure what you mean there, mate. Franz Joseph has a drive-through. So what a shame there for him. To be fair, his race was kind of over anyway. P14, he'll still get points, obviously, so might as well carry on. I am so still on the back of Lightblade, as these two are battling it out over 7th and 8th places at this stage.
And I'm going to be back in a second. I need to grab a beer.
Right then, Ryan's going off to grab a bevy, but whilst we're watching Lightblade and I am so, Jazzman is continuing to pull out the gap out of the front to Reco advantage, as I am so trying to get a cut back here on Lightblade, but Lightblade wily to that one, saw that one coming and isn't getting phased by that one. Gap between the two leaders, Chasman, well I say two leaders, there's only one leader and he's got a decisive margin in this one, but he's got 6.9 seconds to Reco advantage at the moment, has Jazzman. The champion for the Wednesday GT3 League isn't there to retain his title this season, but he's here for this Sunday GT3 Sprint Championship this season to try and take that one as well, to take the sweep of the Wednesday and Sundays, albeit on different seasons. Lightblade has got I Am Slow really close on him here, looking to the inside into turn 1. Here he goes, Lightblade just hanging around the outside, but I Am Slow pushes it down the inside. They're going to be side by side here, coming through in towards turn 3. Oh, I Am Slow a little bit D, almost goes, oh, he just hits the curb there, and they've gone round, and Lightblade there, had nowhere to go. Lightblade seems to be slowing down, I think. He might be shouldering responsibility for that. I would say maybe Lightblade, you're not really, I'd say that's a bit of a 50-50 there, but Lightblade is letting I Am Slow back past, so Lightblade clearly thinks he was at fault for that one. I personally, I would have waved play on for that one. I would have said, look, nothing doing, that's not really, that's a 50-50 there, that one. But nonetheless, those two losing a couple of places. You just saw, you just missed I Am Slow and Lightblade having a collision, Ryan.
I just saw, I heard you, because I took my headset with me, talking. But I had to get the beer out because the Lionesses have just won the Euros.
Did we? What was the score?
2-1.
Get in. Well, it's about time we won a bloody competition, isn't it?
110th minute. And then the girl scored the goal, and then run around the pitch with her top off. So some men were very much enjoying the footage of her running around with topless.
I bet, yeah. I didn't. Has any women's footballer ever done that before?
Probably.
It's not something you see in
TV. I don't think you see that.
Not something you see in women's football so much. No.
You see it in men's football a lot, but
yeah, I've never seen a women's footballer do that ever. Not once. I've never ever seen that. So that's a bit of a first.
Well,
Who was it that scored? Who was it that scored the winner?
Kelly.
Right, I might have to duff off. Okay, I need to shut up. I was going to say I might need to dip after this, but anyway, we move on. 8 minutes left to go here in this first race, and Jazzman's got the gap just over 7 seconds right now to Reco advantage. But yeah, Casey running in third place, a little way behind there in the final podium spot. Turbo Dutch has got the gap down actually to 2.3 now to Casey. So Turbo Dutch is really continuing to just chip away at that gap, and it's looking very strong at this stage.
There is going to be a battle for P3 here.
There certainly is. Also, John Duke's managed to pull away a bit from Nilsson now. That's a second and a half. GGJ is closing in a bit on Slowwolf, I think, at this point. That's only just over 4 seconds now between those two. So that is looking like it could get tasty here. But
yeah, I mean, I'm going to kind of keep an eye on this Turbo Dutch battle.
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna just have a little look to see what's going on here with I Am Slow, who's now 3 seconds clear of Lightblade, but he's pulling up onto the back of Nilsson a little bit. So this could be an exciting one for 8th place here. I wonder if Lightblade's got a bit of damage here, but I'm just trying to speculate.
Both KC and Turbo Dutch just drifted it through turn 1 there.
Turbo Dutch maybe caught out or maybe distracted a bit by what was going on in front of him?
I don't think so. I think Casey started drifting in midway through the corner, and Turbo Dutch done it before the corner, which I've done multiple times. When you're racing here, you always go onto the green painted marks on the left hand side into turn 1. It just helps you with turning in and everything.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just brake a bit too much and it just messes you.
Yeah, it's very true. You make a good point. But yeah, they're both doing exactly the same thing. But Turbo Dutch within a second now of Casey. So this is very much looking like he has the momentum. Now, does he have what it takes to make the move on him? The Ferrari and the Bentley probably quite even down the straights, I would imagine. The BOP meant that the BOP adjustment meant that the Bentley was given much better cornering ability than perhaps what you realistically see. But Ferrari are very good all-rounder, so I reckon it's going to be quite an even sort of race down the straights. But SPV Casey seems to have a lot more grip at this point. Maybe he's just looked after his tyres a little bit better. Isn't it right the Bentley's very good on its tyres though, I've heard?
The Bentley is, because it is front-wheel drive. Obviously with different positions of the engine, it wears differently.
Yeah,
whereas
we see
say
KCG.
like Porsche is rear-wheel drive and it's rear engine. I mean, these are all rear-wheel drive, but because of the weight is on the rear wheels on the Porsche, it will burn tyres a little bit quicker.
Because all the energy is coming from the rear.
Yeah, because it's heavier on the rear. When there's more weight to a certain point, it will wear more there.
Of course. And the Bentley being a front engine car, it means that
it just levels the wear out, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas, say, like the Ferrari's a mid-engine car, even though it's at the back, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. I mean, like the same thing with the Lambo. The Lambo and the Ferrari are mid-engines, and they just level itself out a little bit. I mean, that's the most equal point. I've never really driven the Ferrari or the Lambo in endurance to see how the tyres are compared to others, but driving like the Mercedes is front engine as well. It's always been nice for me to drive the Mercedes or the Bentley.
Oh,
I think.
Sorry, I just my nan just jumped in the room. We got this battle's still raging on though between these two, isn't it?
I am Slopes all over the back of Nilsson now.
Yeah, he really is. These two actually not dropping off of John Jig much, so it's Nilsson deep, and that's giving Iron Snow the position. So Nilsson there making a mistake, or did he was he just letting him through there? I mean, hopefully not. But nonetheless, I am Slow into P8, and he can now chase after John Jig. Has he got what it takes to chase after John Jig? I reckon John Jig might have a bit of damage here, because he does not seem like the John Jig that we saw early in the race.
Gonna be hard to close that. John Jig's a very experienced driver.
Yeah, but he doesn't seem like the John Jig that we saw start this race. Yeah, he does not seem like the same John Jig. He doesn't seem like the same guy that started this race. I don't know what's happened to him, but he's really struggling in the later part of this race. And I am so moving through up into P7 here. So our John Jig there, it just seems to be falling apart. He just doesn't seem to have any confidence all of a sudden in that Lamborghini.
No, I mean, when we was in the GT4s, he was so fast. And we come back to the GT3s. and it's just a totally different ball game. I mean, I love the GT4s because they're not as fast. Andy, your mic's doing a thing.
Sorry.
Yeah, I love the GT4s, even though they're not as fast. They're still competitive. I mean,
Yeah, it's very close racing.
The multi-class season where you commentated on your own, you had half the grid GT3s, half the grid GT4s.
Ryan, Turbo Dutch has just pitted. The battle for the podium is done because Turbo Dutch didn't put enough fuel in the car. He's having to pit on the final lap of the race just to get it home. That will promote, that will put Casey, that gives Casey a clean run to the podium now.
That'll move a lot of people up.
Yes, they will pop into P4.
I'm slow up.
GGJ on his debut, P5. P5 for GGJ on his podium. I mean, yeah, P5 on his, on his podium, on his debut. Yeah.
Lightblade's just come past him now, and he's just dropping. Corday's just coming out the final corner. Corday and him are going to be tight on the rejoin.
Yeah, Corday's just going to get him, I think. So, Corday up into P10 there. But Turbo Dutch, what a disaster for him, as he was looking like he could have maybe given Casey a bit of something to worry about on the last lap. Whether or not he'd have nabbed him, it's difficult to say, really. But, yeah, that's unfortunately put pay to his chances of doing anything to maybe have a chance. But Jazzman, nonetheless, is about to start the final lap of the race. He is now on the final lap, just gets over the line in time to do one more lap, and his gap to Reco Vantage about 10 seconds. So he's really put in the work here as Jazzman. Didn't get pole, but he's very much been he's very much been the man to beat in this first race of the evening. But obviously Jazzman and Reco will both have to come from the back in the second race, as the top three can't qualify. So that will maybe just put them both in the same situation where they're both having to make their way back through.
Casey's run out of fuel.
Has he? No way. Another driver's run out of fuel.
No,
is he just running it on lean? Is he running it on lean, maybe? Maybe he thought it was the last lap. He must have thought it was the last lap. He's now gone again.
I don't know, actually. I just watched that. I think that he might have just let off to give Slow Wolf try and let Slow Wolf ahead.
Hopefully not, because we've warned against this. We've said that we're not really allowing this anymore. Let's just jump on board. Have a look at the fuel. Is there a way you can see the fuel gauge? There isn't really, is there? No, there isn't. You can't look at the fuel, unfortunately. Unless we jump on board, maybe.
He's been driving around in fifth gear.
Well, if he's low on fuel...
He also cut the chicane.
If he's low on fuel, then that's fair enough. We can allow it.
No, he's purposely letting off.
Is he low on fuel?
I can't see that, but he is purposely going slow. He is... In map 1.
Nonetheless, Jazzman has come over the line to take the win here for the first race of the evening at Barcelona, and it's a great win from him. An emphatic victory here. He really did run away with it after not getting pole, but Reco, the pole sitter, brings it home in P2. Casey and GGJ are going to battle it out. GGJ in a podium spot. This is unbelievable. Who would have thought? With Slow Wolf.
He's definitely left off.
Slow Wolf was just backed off. Massively.
Look. Casey's just cut the final chicane.
What is going on here?
And he's also just stopped on the final corner.
Well, Casey's got a drive through now. And GGJ is going to come around to take a P3. GGJ is going to take a podium spot. And what is going on here, boys? What is going on here? What's all this about?
Casey's run out of fuel.
Casey has run out of fuel. So fair enough, we know why he was... oh, no, he's going to miss out. He's going to miss out on even crossing the line. Oh, Casey, someone push him. Someone push him. Guys, if anyone's listening to the stream, push him. Someone give him a push.
Oh, Lightblade's already in the pits. Lightblade's one driver that will push him.
Yeah, Lightblade would have done if he had heard it. Guys, come on, if anybody's listening to the stream, somebody give him a push. Somebody give him a push. Come on. No, mate, he's on the line. He's done it. He's done it! He's got a 30-second penalty for running out of fuel, as if running out of fuel isn't enough of a punishment. He's also then got a penalty for it.
And
brilliant.
was going round in fear, changing fuel map. Bit naughty.
Well, at least he wasn't purposely. At least he wasn't purposely trying to not finish on the podium. This is unbelievable. Nilsson is parked up on the exit of turn 9, all on those marbles, and he's just. So many drivers tonight have done the same thing.
GGJ.
Yeah, GGJ. He's finished in P3. No, you can't push him from there. Too far out. Too far out. You're not going to push him from there.
Me and emo guy he pushed me to the line from turn 4 at Monza.
Yeah, but you two are in a party chat, so it's a bit easier. But nonetheless, that's that then for the first race, guys. With Jazzman taking a win ahead of Recco Vantage. Those two, the top two, they're in a class of their own, but Jazzman's slightly the better of Recco in that first race in terms of overall pace. And GGJ taking a very creditable podium spot there on his debut here on ACC Emotive. We'll be back, guys, very shortly for the second stream. We'll be on a new stream for that one for the second race of the night. Top 3 can't qualify. Jazzman, Recco and GGJ will not be able to set lap times for the second qualifying session. Check it out on the Discord server. We'll be posting the link very shortly, guys. See you soon.